or whatever happened to him? And you're just dead silent? In my opinion.
He's so right. And so let's jump back into the substance. Forget the crop top, okay? I didn't cover the crop top. Aaron didn't cover the crop top. We are indeed, however, speculating with a lot of evidence, which is mounting, that perhaps Andrew was not on the plane that he claims he was on. We'll have more on that later. Of course, the bigger issue is that it means that Erica went on an earlier flight to Utah. Which flight? I don't know. We can't be too certain, but I do now have an explosive tidbit. Now, I have to hope that given my track record of providing you with receipt after receipt, with text message after text message, with phone log after phone log, and you are going to allow me to use this excuse. I guess maybe I have a credit here when I tell you that I simply cannot reveal to you how I came across this information. In other words, what I'm saying is that there's no way for me to protect the source. But the information is explosive. I've long explained to you that one of the things that is so odd to me is that nobody saw Erica on the day of Charlie's assassination. Nobody's come forward, at least, to say that they saw Erica on the day of the assassination in the places, the very public places that she claims to be. Point A, she says that she collapsed in a parking lot after her mother she was with her mother getting treatment. Then she collapsed in a parking lot. Curiously, no witnesses. It's a big deal. Everyone was looking for Erica Kirk on that day. The whole world was tuning in to this assassination, and then realized suddenly pictures. Oh my God, he leaves behind a wife and 2 kids. That's when everybody got to learn what Erica Kirk looked like. It's just not every day. Even if you didn't know at the time, you would go, "Oh my gosh, now I remember. I saw a blonde collapse in a parking lot. That must have been Erica." Now that she's telling the story, it looks like Erica. I mean, I saw the nurses come out and escort her, and then what? She somehow drove her car thereafter to her apartment after having a collapse. Is that even safe? What was an ambulance called? Again, no witnesses. We don't know, and Erica doesn't like to speak about it. There's no details there. Then we know that at some point she had to have raced to the airport with an entourage which included a priest. Okay, a priest. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not every day that you see the widow of Charlie Kirk accompanied by a man in clerical robes at an airport terminal. Can we acknowledge that? It's just not every day. That would be an unusual thing that stood out to you. And I know, yes, of course, they flew private, but I promise you, there would have been more than a few witnesses. Private terminals are actually quite busy in cities like Scottsdale. It's a big hub. You're going to see a lot of action at the FBO terminals where people fly out private. No witnesses. I'm going through my, nobody saw this. Okay, so I was starting to get the feeling like she actually was being kept somewhere that was more private than a private terminal private. And then I happened upon some information. I said to you, I feel like if this was an operation, it was a lot took place with planes and terminals that the public didn't have access to, right? I was positing that yesterday. Well, I can tell you today, and look, I will say allegedly here, but that I happened upon some information that Erica was at the office of Hopkinson Aircrafts when she received the news that Charlie was dead. I'm going to tell you more about Hopkinson Aircrafts. Now, you'll remember that Erica told me to my face. Also, Elizabeth McCoy wrote a long post, and she confirmed this, that Erica got the news right before they flew to Provo. So Erica had a phone call with the doctor. There are different variations here, whether the decision was made to let Charlie go or whether he told her that Charlie had passed. But the point is that before she got on the plane and departed Scottsdale, she knew that Charlie was dead, okay? And this was in the presence of Hopkinson Aircraft's employees. Now, I wondered, what is that? What is Hopkinson Aircrafts? Well,
you're going to tell us, I know.
Aircraft brokerage, like where you go to buy planes. They're brokers for planes. They have locations in Canada and in Scottsdale. Okay. So I went on to Google and I tried to find their address in Scottsdale, and it listed the address. Again, this is all public. As 14600 North
She giving Drive. All the information.
It started to make sense. That's an
FBO, as you can see,
a private terminal. And I looked and I said, wow, that's a lot that's packed into Atlantic Aviation. I have flown out of this terminal many times. I don't remember there being in Hopkinson aircraft sales, also with Atlantic Aviation, and then also this Ross Aviation. Like, what's going on in this map? Yeah, okay, but yeah, like I told you, it's the same address as Atlantic Aviation. It's a common, busy private terminal. So I thought, okay, what must have happened here is Erica must have flown
Candice is on her backside.
out of Atlantic terminal. And then they happened to share a building with Hopkinson, and maybe the people that were working for Hopkinson overheard her as she got the news. I'm sure she screamed. Maybe she collapsed again, was crying. But something told me this was not a detail to ignore. Something just felt off. So I decided to look through their website, and I just thought to myself, just in general, it's like 2026, why would you waste time having an office building in this tremendously expensive location? They're not making their own aircrafts. It's just a brokerage firm. You could do this on the phone, right? Like, why? Why would you spend this money to be inside sharing this with Atlantic Aviation? It just seemed weird to me. So I then went to the team. I said, let's look at this. And similarly, they thought that it looked funny on the map, just looked weird. And at certain times, when I was trying to find Hopkinson aircraft, it almost appeared as though there was a building that was behind Atlantic FBO, but that was separate from Atlantic FBO. So finally, I had a genius idea. I said, why don't I just send someone anonymously to contact Hopkinson, to contact Atlantic, and see what the deal is, right? Is there really an office inside of Atlantic? And remarkably, we were able to determine that Hopkinson is indeed in a building that is separate from Atlantic, but Atlantic accepts all of their mail. And the reason that Atlantic does that is because Hopkinson does not actually have its own address. It's in a building that stands alone and is separate from Atlantic FBO terminal, where you would fly out if you were going private. And this is a brokerage firm, okay? This is aircraft brokerage. They sell planes, and they have no address. Their address, they use Atlantic's address. Atlantic receives all of their packages, all of their mail, but their location is separate, and it's next door, and it's kind of hidden. That's why I was having trouble locating it. I'm going to show you that. This is the building that Erica was allegedly in when she found out from the doctor that Charlie was not going to make it. I'm going to show you that. So you have Atlantic there on the right. We're now coming inward. Yep, pointing that on the mouse. We're now coming inward. It's this rather obscure building right here. Okay.
It's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside. First, go to Riverside and open an account. When you're ready to...
Now, why would Erica be in that building? Allegedly. Why would Erica be in that building? Walk me through that. You don't know your husband is about to be shot, even though she did actually say when he got shot, I effing knew it. That was the sentence that came out of her mouth. But, in a way, maybe she meant like, oh gosh, he was so scared. Like I knew something. I had a bad feeling that day. I knew it, right? How do we get there? What is Hopkinson? How do we get to Hopkinson aircraft? Did somebody have a thought? Let's see if we can buy a plane. Why are we heading there? Why are we staging there in this obscure building of Hopkinson aircraft, which is not known to anybody, right? How'd she get there? What is Hopkinson aircraft? Why did it immediately feel shady to me? It felt to me like a CIA front, if I'm being honest. That's an opinion. It felt to me like this is not a real business, but it needs to present like it's a real business for some reason. And I can show you their website here. Okay. Luxury aircraft sales, premier aircraft sales, over 60 years, 3 generations of elevated expertise. The Hopkinson luxury aircraft. We can get started. I think somewhere, if you click around, Skylar, we can find the family, the team, the Hopkinson difference. Now, what is the difference? Actually, you do jet sales. Why are you in this building? Why are you in this unmarked building? You don't have to, no one needs to come to see you to see what jets are available, because jets, of course, live wherever their owners live. So it's not like you're buying a used car and you're walking out and there's going to be a fleet of used jets somewhere. It's not a junkyard at the Scottsdale airport. What is Erica doing in that building? I would like to know. I would like to know more about the Hopkinson family in general. Actually, maybe you know something. Maybe you know this family. And you go, well, here's what they do. They really are just the difference in luxury aircraft sales. It's a data point that I think really matters, because there's something about this that feels secretive to me. All of it. It feels like Erica was being protected that day, which leads us, by the way, to the question of Andrew Colvett, right? We were surmising that Andrew Colvett actually flew on Charlie's plane. Again, why would they all go to Scottsdale would be a question in the background. Why would Andrew need to be on Charlie's plane? Why not just fly from Santa Barbara? Maybe, and again, we are speculating here, because there was a pre-approved location where no one would see them, because you can't just wander into there, okay? No one knows it exists, that people knew to meet. They could get in and out and not be seen by anybody. Now, moving back to Andrew Colvett, like I said, we are positing that he at first flew to Scottsdale from Santa Barbara, and then he flew from Scottsdale on to Provo, Utah. 2 flights that day, and we believe that neither of those flights are the alleged much later 3:19 p.m. Mountain Standard Time flight that Erica told me that he was aboard, okay? And I'm going to tell you why